Hi everybody, how's it going? A couple weeks back I posted a video saying I was going to do a Q&A video, and I decided to finally get down and record that. I was hoping for a few more comments, but it's getting pretty old and I don't think people are really watching it anymore, so figured now would be as good a time as any. Let me just open up the comments page here actually, and I'm going to answer them directly from the screen in the order at which they came out. Alright. Senior Nerd has 5 questions. The first of which is, if you're so smart, why aren't you a millionaire? Which I'm pretty sure is a reference to an episode of Batman the Animated Series, so nerd points me. What makes you think that people that are millionaires are smart? See, there's where it gets deep. There's a question within a question. But to seriously answer your question, it's because I don't have millionaire ideas necessarily. You can be smart without having millionaire ideas. Point. Ian. Now here's actually an interesting question. Also from Senior Nerd. Where did the name Sid Part 2 come from? That is actually a reference to my favorite band. You can see all the album covers posted on the wall, maybe. I don't know. My favorite band is Pink Floyd. The original lead singer was Syd Barrett, and so it's Sid Part 2, SYD. And what drives me crazy is when people say, when, like, I'm having a chat with someone and someone calls me Sid Part, I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Call me Ian, Sid, or Sid Part 2. Sid Part is just so annoying, because it leaves you just on an end, and you're like, Sid Part what? Choose a gun for a zombie outbreak. Once again, Senior Nerd. So, I don't know, Magnum 500. I always thought that gun looked cool. I probably couldn't shoot it without, breaking my arm, but hey. Does this look infected? Yes. See a doctor. A song I'm ashamed to like. That's a hard one to think of. Man. Thrilling video, I know, but I guess I'm gonna say, it's one of those songs I remember listening to it a lot when I was really young, and I've never stopped liking it. I'm not ashamed of it, but I definitely know it's not a good song, so I'm gonna say, all I want to do is have some fun. And that's the end of Senior Nerd's questions, or his first list of questions. Vizio 5554 or 5554 asks, "What's the best so good it's bad movie you've seen?" Probably Batman and Robin. There was a movie I was watching a couple days ago that was really funny though. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head though. So I'm gonna say Batman and Robin because it's definitely the most memorable, if nothing else. Senior Nerd asks again, one final question. Which do you prefer, 70s Land of the Lost, 90s Land of the Lost, or the Will Ferrell movie? Since I've only seen the Will Ferrell movie, I'm going to say the Will Ferrell movie, but I have no idea. I did enjoy the Will Ferrell movie, though. It was funny for what it was. Milan Jeftic 1992 asks, do you maintain that beard due to the fact that if you didn't have any distinguishing male facial hair, you'd look like a girl? No, because I definitely have videos of me where I don't have facial hair, and I don't think I look like a girl. I like facial hair, and also I'm really lazy, and shaving takes me forever because my hair grows in like 16 different directions. So whenever I finish, I'm always left with like 3 or 4 little tiny patches that are like not responding to the razor no matter which way I cut. So it's a pain in the ass. It takes me like an hour to shave every time I do it, so I space it out quite a lot. Blonde Jeff took 1992 also asks, if you had a free pass to kill any one person in the world, who would it be? I don't believe in murder, But, Ahmed Ahmadinejad? Kind of a douchebag. Milan also asks, what would you do if you had the powers of Superman? Nerd out moment. I definitely wouldn't be responsible with them. I wouldn't be as irresponsible as other people are, and I don't think I'd do anything morally wrong, but I would definitely do a lot of things for personal gain. Like I'd steal from the right people. I'd go like steal from the mafia, or steal from, if I did steal, I'd steal from the mafia, or I'd use my strength to, get money through, I don't know, like some kind of thing where they'd pay you to be strong, circus strongman or whatever. Something, I don't think I'd do too much illegal activity. I mean, you're always going to break the law somehow, but I don't think I wouldn't be, robbing banks and flying around, but, I mean, that's also assuming, the more I think about it, if I had Superman's powers, if I could fly faster than the speed of light, I guess I could, leave. Might do that, but where do I go? There aren't any known planets out there with other life forms, and there's no guarantee that it's going to be any better, so I don't know. Magpie2541 asks, what are your top 5 movies right now? I'm going to go 5-1. Inception, The Dark Knight Rises, A Clockwork Orange, The Dark Knight, Doctor Strangelove, or How I Stopped Worrying and Learned to Love the Bomb. And that's not an alternative, that's the full title of number 1. Higgs2K11, who was the 150th subscriber, mind you, asks, what character do you hate that everyone else loves? I mean, a lot of people hate Robin. Lady Gaga? Sounds like a cheat, but I totally stand by that, because Stephanie, whatever the hell her last name, is not that person, so she is a caricature. Likewise, is there any character you like that everyone else hates? Mr. Terrific. He's a really cool character. How did you get started on YouTube? This is also from Higgs2K11. Back in 2008, I was taking this class in high school called This Day in History. And one of my other teachers described it as the game show class, because you learned information that was only going to help you on a game show. Sorry, just checking. Anyway, so I took this class, and basically every day we watched YouTube videos pertaining to the subject matter that we were learning. This was right when YouTube's filter wasn't that good, so we still got a lot of copyright material on YouTube that was, easy to find like that. So we'd watch, we'd learn that this singer rose to the charts this day, and that Hitler conquered this part of the country, blah, blah, blah. And then we'd try to find a YouTube video that would help illustrate that in some way. So we got to hear a lot of good variety of music, got to see a lot of interesting commercials, and there's a lot of information about, political leaders throughout history and up till the modern era, and he got a pretty good use out of it. And it was a very innovative class. The teacher didn't quite use it right, because what he'd do is he'd start looking for the videos as we were reading through the class. In my opinion, he should have prepared for it ahead of time and had the videos picked the day before, and they should have been longer videos, because we'd watch a lot of like just 2-minute videos, and it'd be, you know, 2-3 sentence little factoids, and that was a little too superfluous. It should have been a little more, you know, there should have been more meat to it, and he should have the videos picked beforehand. But anyway, it's harder to find them now, but there are tribute videos on YouTube at the time. And we always came across tribute videos while looking for information on these people in class. And so our final grade was to make a tribute video on a historical figure. It could be any historical figure. And we had to upload it to YouTube. So, uploaded to YouTube as my very first video is my tribute to Joseph Stalin, which nobody gets. I mean, I think it's very, very comical, because what I did is I took Stalin and I, you know, paralleled him to Anakin Skywalker, just because I wanted to use the Darth Vader Imperial March. And, you know, I used complete historically inaccurate, used any information about him any way I wanted, and made a crappy, you know, I think it's like a 3-4 minute video. And I think it's funny. I mean, it definitely has its moments, but people just plain out don't get it. They're always like, yeah, hail Stalin, or you're a commie bastard, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, guys, it's Stalin to Star Wars music. Like, literally, there's a picture in that video, since I said his mentor died, there's a picture in that video of Qui-Gon Jinn getting stabbed by Darth Maul, and I've replaced Qui-Gon Jinn's face with Lenin. And nobody gets that it's humorous. I don't know. Like, someone tried to tell me, well, people from Europe have a different style of humor. It's much more subtle. I mean, that's definitely not over the top, but it seems more subtle to me. Anyway, that's how I got started. You can go see my first video, maybe. I don't know if it's blocked in this country since I use Star Wars music. Anyway, so that's how I got started. Do I think YouTube's for everybody? I think everybody can use YouTube, can be on YouTube, but I don't think it's for everyone. I don't think everyone can get into the experience as well, because there are so many people that are obviously doing it just for the, you know, the Google views. I wish those people would stop. I understand pursuing it for the monetary gain, but it's really, it takes the art out of it. There's something poetic about a site where anyone can upload their content, their visual content. And I feel like it gets bogged down with all the commercials and all the bullshit. And I understand that's kind of a necessary evil, but it's annoying to see. And I wish it wouldn't happen as much. Because when you look at it, the people that are the best on YouTube started it for fun. They didn't start it to make money. And then you have all these people doing it for the money, and it's not as good. It's very second generation. You can tell they're stealing jokes, and they're manufacturing their videos to try to be popular, and it's not very good, and I don't care for it. So it's for everyone that wants to use it, but there are definitely people that I don't believe should, and on a more localized level that are, it's not really for people who don't have much to say. I can't tell you how many 20-minute videos there are where someone just says the same thing over and over again because they're spouting their opinion and they don't give any good example, or the videos where it's, you know, two girls laughing on camera and they think it's funny, and it probably is for them, but it's not funny to see for anyone else, and it's just stupid. It wastes YouTube's bandwidth. So that's how I feel about that. And Higgs asks again, I've always been interested in making YouTube videos, but it feels weird talking to a camera. It is weird talking to a camera. I've gotten kind of used to it. I mean, if you look back at some of my older movies, particularly my first one, Caesar's Revenge, you can see me constantly look at the camera. And that's, it's the exact opposite of what you want to do. So, like, when you're acting, you don't want to look at the camera, but when you're blogging, you want to look at the camera. And you can see my eyes kind of go all over the place while I'm doing this, and I'm checking on other things because I have a computer in front of me. But, so, like, I've got kind of a little mini blessing, because my webcam software that I'm recording this on, um, for some reason, something malfunctioned in it, and I know it's recording, but I don't have a display window, so it's not as distracting as seeing yourself. So what I recommend is when you are recording, if you're doing what I'm doing, shut off the lenses and just, like any viewfinders you have, check the angle first, but then just look directly at the camera and talk to it and try your best. But yes, it does take it. There's a curve, and it's much easier to do videos with someone else. But not everyone can do that. So I hope that answers your question, Higgs. Here's a question Milan Jeftik had again. When did you die inside? I was in elementary school. I got bullied a lot. And one day, a teacher decided to make fun of me. And something broke. And I was flat. And I repressed all of my emotions. And then, once you repress all your emotions because people tell you that you're too emotive, you don't know when to quit, so you repress and repress and repress, and you eventually just don't feel anything. And that's what happened to me. It was in 5th grade. A little dark there. R64 Bear, who is Bobby, and you should go check him out and subscribe because he does put something out every once in a while. What is your impression of the Man of Steel now that you've seen the trailer? I think I've seen both trailers now. I'm not sure or both official trailers, not the Comic-Con ones. I'm gonna be avoiding that. It looked interesting. I mean, I just saw it today again. I really enjoyed the tone that they're going with. My feeling is Marvel should make their movies with their characters very fun, very, popcorny, very interesting, and add some depth to it too, because that's always good. But it should be deep, but not too deep, and it should be fun and entertaining to watch. Whereas DC, I think, should try to stick to movies that are philosophically resonant, because their characters are based much more on ideas than they are on how actual people act. So if we had more movies from DC where their heroes were about becoming this ideal, becoming this force, in ways that, Dark Knight wasn't. Dark Knight was about becoming an idea that anyone could be Batman, that you can stand up to corruption, you can turn fear on the fearful. That's the whole theme of Nolan's movies, and Dark Knight Rises, of course, the major theme was that you can always come back, you can always save yourself, you can always rise. There's more to it than that, but that's the tweet version. That's the tweet version, the ultra condensed version. But anyway, Man of Steel is showing themes of that just in the trailer, about becoming what no one else can be. That's the thing. Superman is what no one else can be, so it'll be really interesting to see where they go with that. And that's the theme that I was getting from the trailer, is it's going to be about the journey of becoming Superman to a point. That being said, I hope it's not all him figuring out his powers and blah, 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 but we'll see. Electric Phantom asks, what was the hardest thing for you to videotape? Ian and Bobby's epic quest to rent a movie. It took 6 months. The hardest, very specific thing to videotape had to have been when is very technical and everything had to work just right. And it was one of those things where we could only do it once. God. It's going to be one of those things. I'm just trying to think, how many things could we only do once? A while back, nah, that's not it, because it was trying, but it wasn't hard. Um, okay, Caesar's Revenge, the 2010 remake. We had so much trouble. We just had to scrap the footage, but we were trying to get a bullet shot visual effect using condoms filled with blood and all this really cool low budget filmmaking equipment, right? And we'd had some people that shouldn't have been doing it working on the effects, and it just ruined the effect. And you can see the footage in the outtakes of me trying to get the effect to go off, and it's just not working, and it was so terrible. It was so difficult to set up. It was like an hour of film wasted. But I don't know. It's the general, of course, Ian and Bobby's Epic Quest Run movie, because it took 6 months to get on film and get all edited and produced and everything. Um, but the specific is probably the night we were trying to film Phil's death for Caesar's Revenge, because, God. Where's the funniest thing I videotaped? Um, I'm assuming you're meaning, like, specific moment. And thing is, it's funnier when you're there. I'm gonna give two answers to this. I'm gonna give the funniest thing I've ever, like, seen us put out, and the funniest thing to have been there at the time. Because sometimes the funniest thing that you see on film, it was just a bitch day, and everyone was pissed off by that time. And there are other days where it's not that funny on film, but it was really enjoyable to do. Uh, Funniest thing we were just, as far as being on film and doing it, being on the set and doing it, was when the Jew was in the cupboard in Epic Quest to Rent a Movie, because there was so much there were so many takes of him trying to get out and it not working, and it was hilarious. And we even, tied him up, or we even rubber banded part of the drawers together, so he had a hard time getting out. It was just a lot of fun to do. The funniest thing we've ever put on film was definitely Batman and Scott running toward the camera in slow motion at the end of Epic Quest to Rent a Movie. And I know I'm using that as a lot, but that was basically half of my year. Okay, so don't judge me. Um, what inspires you? This is all from Electric Phantom, by the way. What inspires me? I found myself very inspired by the uh, the works of Sartre, Nietzsche, and Diogenes, on a mental level, on an intellectual level, on a filmmaking level, on an artistic level. I find myself extremely inspired by Nolan, by Kubrick, by storytellers like David Bowker and Grant Morrison, um, because I write a lot more than I film. But so actually, maybe not anymore. I don't know. I'll have to weigh up how much I've done on film and how much I've written. Um, what defines you? It's a hard question to answer. It's getting deep again. Um, I know this is just so thrilling. What defines me is a drive not to be normal. As weird as that sounds, I don't like the idea of normality. I'd hate to wake up one day and find myself stuck in a routine, going through the motions. I know I go through some motions, but I like to try to do enough that stands out, that breaks the mold, to use all the cliches in the book. Electric Phantom also asks, seen anything weird lately? Um, where I work, yes. I work in Goodwill and in the back, so we're constantly digging through carts and digging up this strange shit. It was a sparkly, bedazzled dress that was just ancient, and It's hard to describe. It's just this old-ass, ugly, bedazzled rhinestone dress, and for some reason it went for like $40, and that was just staggering. I was so amazed. It was so weird. Weirdest compliment I've ever received is Electric Phantom's last question. I'm not sure. That's a hard one. It's not like I keep track of these things, so it's hard to remember. I get nice shoes a lot. I have a lot of... I really like shoes, and I'm thinking about doing a video on my shoes. Just because that's not... That's totally manly, right? You know? I get nice shoes a lot. I get, oh my god, I want your shoes. Jessica once told me that she wanted to have my babies, so there's that. I don't know, maybe. Okay. Blue Dragon 5 asks, what is my favorite Pixar film? Toy Story 3. Though I hated the ending. They didn't end it in the right place. If they had just... When they're going... Spoiler alert. When they're going down the trash heap, about to be, incinerated, and they're all holding hands, it should have cut to black. I'm not saying, show the toys melting or anything like that. That would have been obviously too dark. But it should have cut to black. The movie should have ended right there, because the message was much more resonant at that point. The idea that your childhood, once you give up your childhood, it's gone forever. That would have been so much more powerful and so much more resound, and it would have resonated much more. As it was, it kind of let out this idea that you can keep your childhood alive, that it'll never die. And the thing is, that message isn't true, because sure, you can give the toys away to one kid, but that kid's either going to break them, or going to stop playing with them, or going to outgrow them herself. And you can't repeat that message, because toys go out of date. And that not just on the purely straightforward level of, this toy's old, no one wants to play with it. It's more than that. There's the idea that what's great for you doesn't matter throughout time, because your childhood is over. If you could write for Batman in a story, what would you do with him? I have written a Batman story before. It was my script. It's a script, so a little iffy, but it's a script for a graphic novel, and it was a fan script. It was set in the Nolan universe after The Dark Knight, several years down the road, not taking into account The Dark Knight Rises, because obviously it hadn't come out yet. But it was set in the Nolanverse, and Batman was in it, but he wasn't the main character. It was a very Joker-centric story. That being said, you can see part of the script vocalized by Milan Jeftic, 1992. It's on my channel. It's called Fool's Russian, The Joker's Philosophy. And that was the epitome scene. Everything was building to that scene. But if I were to write something just for Batman, I'd like to do a story about Batman dealing with the idea that Alfred is going to die, or Alfred has died, because that story's never really been done from what I've seen. I mean, it's always been kind of in the background. There are always stories where Batman's old and Alfred is dead and stuff like that, and that's interesting, but they've never really gone into how it would affect Batman if Alfred died. So that'd be a good one to do. I'd also like to do a story where, just a story of Batman and Superman arguing, because that would be fantastic to do. You'd get to do, Kantian ideals versus Nietzschean ideals. So there's that. Blue Dragon 5 also asks, have you seen the film Ted, and what are your thoughts? No, I haven't seen it. It looked kind of funny. I'll probably watch it when it's out on DVD. I like the concept. The concept made me giggle. Um, any word back from Scott McClure on your personal message request / idea? A while back, I sent a message to Scott about doing an interview for the regarding the Joker blogs. You know, like a Skype interview or whatever. And he initially showed some interest, but those guys are swamped over there, so I'm not expecting anything back. And even if anything is going to come back, it's probably not going to be anytime soon. But that being said, I'd still love to do an interview with them. I have a lot of questions that I'd like to ask them about, and I've seen interviews with them, and they're never really good. You can tell the people saw maybe 4 or 5 videos, and it's not. I don't want to like fan blitz them, though I could. I don't want to fan blitz them, and I think I could ask interesting, deep questions that we could find out surprising things about the series. 5 from Blue Dragon 5 on their first list. What do you like most about film / filmmaking? We honestly do it for fun, and it's strange because not a lot of people put 6 months of effort into something for fun, and not a lot of people argue with their friends and get, really angry at each other for fun, because that happens when you're making movies. It's going to happen. There's always drama when you're making a movie. I've never had a movie where no one yelled at each other, no one got at each other's throat at one point. What is my what let me read the question again just to make sure I'm not going too far up. What do I like most about it? I like the control of. I like writing the scripts and getting to see what I wrote on screen and in person, because a lot of us have those things where we think, oh, it'd be funny if, but that's where it ends. We just think it. Others of us think, oh, it'd be funny if, let me write that down, and then they either, put it out on their, Facebook, or they turn it into a stand-up act. But very few of us get to go all the way of producing, a sketch or a movie or a part of a joke or whatever. And I really like to see it, immortalized in some way. So that's really fun to do. What are your thoughts on the Nostalgia Critic, and what is your favorite review? Nostalgia Critic's funny. I can tell he doesn't do a lot of research, and that he doesn't watch much of what he's reviewing when it's more than a movie. When it's a movie, he usually does a really solid review, and what he says is usually pretty fair, given that he doesn't have to do a lot of research on it. But when he's doing a series, he will criticize it for X, Y, and Z, but you can tell he probably only watched the pilot, maybe a couple episodes in the middle, and then the end of the series if it's a series that's over. Well, most of his series are over. So it's okay. He's alright. I enjoy his cartoony Looney Tunes style. It's very fun to watch. It's very entertaining. I have watched Nostalgia Critic reviews where I just busted out laughing. I wish he'd post his stuff on YouTube, because I feel kind of guilty watching it on YouTube instead of going to a site, but their site does not work very well for me. And that's something that I think they know, but they just don't want to deal with the copyright complaints. And it's one of those annoying things where they shouldn't have to deal with copyright complaints, because they're reviewing things and they're parodying things, so they should be allowed to use whatever clips they want. My favorite review of his, which I found it so funny, was the Godzilla review from '98. It was just great. And so for some reason my channel is slowly morphing into a ton of Godzilla references ever since Zazubar came on. It must be like a plague or something. Will I do another video with Captain Logan, this Blue Dragon 5 again? Probably in the future. He and I are talking about doing a vault on the Joker book by Brian Azzarello. Talking too much. Yeah, he and I are planning to do a comic vault on the Joker book by Brian Azzarello and Lee Bergermo. I had a lot of fun doing my video with him last time. Someone was like, Ian acts too much like Vince. I was like, I was doing that on purpose because Vince wasn't in the video. It was funny because we met up and we were talking about it. I was like, dude, we gotta do a video. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be like Vince since I have to replace him. And he goes, okay. And it was obviously me being over the top Vince, which is saying a lot. But I had a lot of fun being on Geek Evolution's channel. It's fun to, do the cameos and talk with them on there, and it's a great time, and it's a great community, and it's a lot of fun to do. And Cap and Vince are awesome. So yes, I'd love to do another one with them, but it's not like we're scheduling out when or anything like that. Have you read the new Scott Snyder Batman run? If so, what is your favorite issue or part? Blue Dragon 5 again. Yes, I read the entire run, 1 to 12 now. I'm going to kind of ignore 12 momentarily and just talk about the first 11. It's really good, very enjoyable. He's building up a lot. Thing is, I'm not sure what he's doing that's fundamentally different from what Morrison did with, or what Morrison was doing with Leviathan. Because, Leviathan and the Black Glove, because we just got done with Morrison's story where it's all, the secret society that's been building for years underneath Gotham's infrastructure. It's got their hand in every pot. And Leviathan was doing that, and so was the Black Glove. So it's like, what's fundamentally different? And Scott Snyder's fundamental difference was he brought in Owlman into mainline DC Universe continuity in a way. And, that was surely interesting. I like the twist with, is he really Thomas Wayne Jr.? It was interesting. I don't like when, most of the time, when writers go back and invent some character that apparently has deep ties to the Wayne family, but Snyder did a good enough job with it. Like, it's not that I hate it, it's done too often and with no real purpose. Like, a lot of writers do it and then it doesn't really add up to anything, so it was a waste of time. But yeah, Morrison or Snyder's doing fine. I'm enjoying it. Great action. I really liked his use. My favorite issue, I want to say 4 or 3. Whichever one has Batman in that labyrinth, and you're turning the book, and then it tricks you, and you turn the page, and you're going backwards. That was a really good use of the medium. I applaud Scott Snyder for his work with that. That was brilliant. Blue Dragon 5 is getting all his questions answered. Should heroes kill? No, because then they're not heroes. Elaboration. Fictionalized, at least. I don't think heroes should kill, because to be a hero is to be morally upstanding, and to kill is to compromise at a level that is not morally upstanding. It is my personal opinion that killing is wrong categorically. There's only one situation in which killing is okay, and that is if your life, your personal safety is in immediate danger and there is no possible alternative. But every alternative should be exhausted first. And I feel that when heroes are forced to kill in stories, it's often really badly reasoned out, and it's poorly done, and it's not thought out well. It's showing a lack of creativity from the writer and sticking with this character's ideals more so than it is, a morally ambiguous message. So no, heroes should not kill. What is your view towards Batman's philosophy on not killing, and can it work in today's modern society? I pretty much just answered. I agree with Batman. You shouldn't kill. It's not correct to do. Killing is making a choice was a great line from Batman Begins. And the thing is, or wait, no, Dark Knight, I'm sorry. Ra's al Ghul says something so similar. Joker says killing is making a choice. And the thing is, it is. But you're choosing something that you never should. Killing is making a choice. When you do that, how far are you from doing something more? I mean, Batman kills Joker. Suddenly, why not Two-Face? He's just as bad. Why not Scarecrow? He's just as bad. So Batman executes his rogues gallery. Suddenly, and this isn't a slippery slope because it's very, very logically progressive. It's once he crosses the line, he has no more excuses. So he has to follow this code. Batman kills Joker, Batman kills Two-Face, Batman kills Scarecrow, Batman executes the rogues gallery, Batman takes down the Mafia in a vendetta. Batman suddenly is on the street murdering gangbangers who actually have families and are just, kids making the wrong decisions. And he's chasing down a punk that robbed a convenience store just because he needed a fix, and suddenly his head's getting taken off. I mean, it's so right-wing to just assume that someone committing a crime has thought it out and made the decision that they no longer want to take part in the social contract. But it's very hard to do that once you look at these people's lives. And that's the thing, if you kill one person, you suddenly don't feel as bad about killing others. And I think that works in any society, past or present. I feel killing was wrong and it always has been wrong. And will always be wrong. Have I seen Superman vs. the Elite? If you saw it, is Superman right? I just watched it because this comment just came in a couple hours ago, and I'd been meaning to see it just because I've been enjoying the animated DC movies, and wow, I enjoyed that so much more than I thought. I had no idea what it's going to be about. I saw like one trailer, and I thought it was going to be Superman versus, a supervillain team, which it seemed interesting. The action seemed like it was going to be okay. But it got so deep. Like, I just finished watching it right before I made this video. It got so deep and so into the morality and seeing Superman deal with someone being okay with the murder, with the murder of people. Seeing Superman be so just fine, or so have to deal with someone saying, I don't want to be Superman because he doesn't kill. That was, wow. That was really good. I really enjoyed it, and I completely agree with his decision in the end. He's completely right. You should not be killing people, because you watch that scene where Superman is, spoiler alert, Superman is murdering them, and it's horrifying. It's Superman. And he just destroyed, like, it's complete deconstruction and annihilation of his character. And it was fantastic. I enjoyed that movie. I'm going to end up buying it fairly soon. Got 2 more comments on this. 5 more questions. All of these are from Blue Dragon 5, who is apparently my biggest fan. How would I define true insanity? I agree with Albert Einstein's definition. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, and expecting different results. But I feel that doesn't quite work. I feel insanity is when you look at the end game. Like, people always argue Joker in The Dark Knight wasn't crazy. He had everything planned out. There was logic to it. It was reasoned out. Thing is, he was very crazy because he had no end game. Anytime you put yourself in the position where Your death means you win. Where does it go from there? So what, you won. You're dead. Nothing matters to you anymore. You are out of the equation. There's literally nowhere else for you to go. Once you are dead, you're done. It's over. Game over. There's no place. There's no moves left. So I you watch through all his plans, and the end of his plan in that was to die. And then there's nowhere else for him to go. And it's the same thing in the Joker blocks. You watch through all his plan work, and the end of his plan is to get to stay at Arkham. There's no end game. You're in a mental institution. That's not sane. That wanting to die or to kick back and relax in your personal mental institution so you can look at and talk to your pretty doctor there's no sanity there. No one wants to be institutionalized. That is sane. Broad generalization, but it's a generalization. Off the top of your head, make a shopping/to-do list for the Joker the way you think the Joker would write that list. Hair gel, toothpaste, makeup, lint rollers, shoe shine, ironing materials if he doesn't have them already, dry cleaning, dinner preparation. What's on dinner is up for debate. Sound and lighting equipment, tools to fix sounds and lights, tools to hack material that would allow him to broadcast, hack or steal. Bullets, knives, gasoline, gunpowder, that stuff. Don't want to put too much thought into it. Kind of an off-the-cuff question. Joker, Two-Face, Catwoman, Bane, and Scarecrow sit down and have a nice dinner at a fancy restaurant. Describe how each would react when it's time to pay the check, and who do you think would leave the tip and how much? Joker. Wait, is Penguin here? Yeah, Joker, instantly. Because it puts him in a position of power. It puts him in the dominant role, and that's how he sees himself. He would want to be the one that pays for their dinner because he feels that they are extensions of himself. He feels that they're his family in a way. Joker, hands down. And how much of a tip would he leave? He'd sit there and just wait for someone to ask for a tip. And then when they did, he'd leave them, like, a very good tip before scaring the fuck out of them while talking. It's like, oh, did you... It'd be like, he'd just be sitting there, asking for, like, mints and stuff. Or he'd be sitting there eating a mint and, talking to the staff while they're cleaning up, getting ready to close, and be like, Mr. Joker, sir, we're gonna have to ask you to go. Oh, well, I thought you guys were waiting on me for something. Yeah, we're kind of waiting on you for a tip. I'm sorry, what was that? A tip? Oh, tip! Right, I mean, God, I'm sorry, I thought you were sitting here expecting me to, pull some kind of horrid device out of my coat and use it to gas you and viciously murder you as you're making your eyes pop right out of your skull. But no, here's and it'd be like $100 bill or something, just because he'd love the fact that he could scare someone like that. If their universes coexisted, do you think Batman and Spider-Man could be friends, a mentor/student relationship, perhaps? There is a comic where Batman and Spider-Man are in a universe where they've always been in the same continuity, which is weird. It was a crossover comic, and seriously, they did it like, they didn't explain, worlds colliding or anything. They just, Batman and Spider-Man have always been in the same universe. Like, everyone was totally cool with it. I was like, okay, I guess. It was a little off-putting, not because it was like a strange universe. It's just that they didn't provide any context as to why these two had literally never mentioned each other before. So, I mean, I enjoyed it. It was a well-written comic to a point. Little cliche, but it was okay for what it was. I don't know if I'd say mentor relationship, because Spider-Man's kind of a loner in his own way, and Batman doesn't exactly go out, picking up kids off the street. Hey, you want to be my, mentor? Sorry, Skype messages. Hey, you want to be my Robin? Blah, blah, blah. It just doesn't happen, so. I mean, I could see them being friendly, as friendly as Batman will be with anyone, but no real mentor relationship. And final question. Thank you, Blue Dragon 5, for all these questions. I did not think this video was going to be this long. Thank you so much. Final question. How would you fix Batman and Robin from a writing standpoint? Keep in mind you must use all the characters in the film. Okay. There's actually a fan edit out there that I want to see where it's called Batman and Robin Deassified. And I was talking to Captain Logan about it. Apparently the biggest problem with it is they had to basically cut out everything involving Batman, so he has no character arc. And, okay. So you make a story. I really like their idea of, Poison Ivy and Freeze teaming up. I liked the idea that Poison Ivy wanted to force Freeze's hand into the position that she put him in. I mean, nothing that happened in that movie was horrid, from just the basic outline of the plot. Alright, I don't mind that too much. Batman goes to a museum to stop Freeze from stealing something that's going to help power his machines. This puts Robin's life in danger and starts out a rivalry between the two of them. Poison Ivy shows up on the scene with... Ignore Bane. Bane's not in this. Shit, I have to use Bane. Fuck! Poison Ivy's on the scene. She's the one providing Bane with the venom, I guess. And I don't want to make Bane a thug, so he's got to have a stake in this somehow. Okay, I got it. Bane will come in later. He's helping Poison Ivy and Freeze throughout. And he's under Ivy's mind control. Ha! You thought you had me. He's under Ivy's mind control. And he's helping Ivy out begrudgingly. Ivy teams up with Freeze, helping with her plan to, basically murder all humanity and let plants retake over the Earth, which is quite horrifying, by the way. Freeze kind of bones out and starts trying, or not bones out, Freeze kind of chickens out halfway through the plan and starts trying to listen to what Batman's saying, because Batman's saying he can get Bruce Wayne to help him cure his wife and yada yada. But instead of that getting to go through all the way, Robin is gravely injured in an encounter by Poison Ivy, and Poison Ivy secretly murders Nora when Freeze doesn't know and blames it on Batman. So Freeze is enraged and he steps up gear to help destroy to help move along Ivy's plan. Batgirl's introduced as a victim of Now, does it have to be the same characters in Batgirl, or can I use Barbara Gordon? Fine, it's gonna be the same. It's just gonna be Batgirl. Okay. So, anyways, Batgirl's introduced throughout the movie, um, while Bruce Wayne is doing research on Freeze. She's been doing research too, and she notices a correlation and is able to track him down. Uh, because she was somehow tied into the robbery, or she was somehow affected by the robbery. Um, so Barbara ends up joining in the fight against Freeze, similar to how Robin ended up joining in the fight against Riddler and Two-Face and Batman Forever. Uh, but anyway, they all go after Freeze and Ivy and Bane, and during the final battle with Robin, Batman, and Batgirl, they take Ivy's mind control powers away from Bane, and Bane helps them defeat Freeze, who, basically the same ending that it had. I didn't mind the subplot with Alfred's disease. That's a very, off the top of my head, but it sounds incredibly good. Not to stroke my ego too much, but I'd definitely rather watch that than Batman and Robin. So it's kind of funny we got to kind of bookend with Batman and Robin here. But anyway, it's a lot of fun doing this. I was surprised with how long this video was. 55 minutes and counting here. So thanks for all the questions, guys. Thanks for the people that left multiple questions. That helped out a lot. Like I said, I was afraid I was going to have a lot to say. And I was surprised with how much I can talk. I apparently love the sound of my voice. And apparently you do too, because you keep watching my videos. Keep an eye out for commentaries on all my old movies coming out soon. And a new intro.